Hey all, welcome to the next Lufenia Plus fight. This one is for the Divine Leviathan Lufenia Plus event that was going on with the new summon boards. So this one is a fight up against Leviathan and its two bubble minions. The orb for this one spawns in at 79% HP. It has a 5 count on spawn, a 45 for max, and is non-lethal. Interestingly enough, this one only counts down once per turn for ally turns and doesn't go down on enemy turns. The orb itself doesn't really work conventionally either. It disappears when the orb hits a 45 count, and it refreshes the orb after it detonates or at 49% HP. When it hits 45, it does also detonate as far as I'm aware, so you do have to watch out for that one, and it is non-lethal. Ways to increase the orb. Evading attack will give it +1 count per ally, so up to 3 maximum there. So that's allies like Rydia, Layla, Kamari, etc. And reducing the bravery damage taken also will do that as well, +1 per ally. So you're looking at characters like Zack, Warrior of Light, Sellers, Beatrix, etc. there as well. It is immune to freeze, absorbs water, so Rydia is fine because she does enforce a water weakness and is weak to thunder. Other major things to be aware of in this fight are the recast ability, which is Tsunami Divine Plus, which will recover Leviathan from break. It will do multiple Water Bravery plus HP attacks to the entire party, applies the Whirlpool field effect for 2 turns, and grants it Leviathan scales for 1 turn, as well as Resist Veil will occur, and this will also happen at 89, 69, 49, and 29% HP. The effects there, Whirlpool is a party speed and turn rate down for your party, as well as summoning and healing the bubbles after each Whirlpool. Leviathan Scales is a defense up by 50%, speed down by 20. Speed up by 20% for Leviathan. And Resist Fail is a 1% maximum bravery floor, which recovers break. And every time it recovers from break there, it will be able to not go below 1% of maximum bravery, so you can't fully break Leviathan there permanently. So the other attack to watch out for is Tsunami Divine, which is the orb attack, and that's just a lower down version of the Tsunami Divine Plus. It is a AoE Bravery plus HP attack that inflicts Inundation on the party for 2 turns. Inundation means you cannot gain Bravery, so you can't get the green numbers, but you can still steal Bravery. Okay, so moving on with the fight here. So, as you can see here, this one also brought us Zack and his BT weapon realization, as long as his BT weapon for this fight, so I've decided to bring him along, and also it gave us Ramza's BT plus realization there, so went ahead and brought him along as well, and that ended up being a really good party. Zack's bringing on the damage reduction, we got some healing in there from Ramza if we need it, and Gilgamesh, of course, also comes along for this fight. So, early on, we just wanted to get some buffs up, so obviously using Shout, we're getting some stacks up there on Ramza's buffs. Zack, we're just going to go ahead and go straight for Apocalypse's EX because it is charged at quest start. With that new level 90 EX here, it does hit reasonably hard as well, so it is a good choice here early on. And then over to Gilgamesh, who's going to use his LD attack. We're going to get those LD sword effects up for his HP plus attacks for the rest of the fight as soon as possible, so perfect opportunity here to do that. And with the lock up on Leviathan from Zack, he's just going to take the hits there, and we're all fine. On that front, Galvanize, get another stack up on Ramza. I'm just trying to not use too many turns early here on stuff like LDs or anything like that while we're just getting set up. And then once we have 2 stacks on each of the buffs, we're going to go ahead and use Ultima on Ramza here, uses BT plus finisher. And with that up, we're going to go ahead and get a big chunk of damage here on the Leviathan, as well as getting our BT plus aura up. And we're going to get the BT aura up on all of these, so to have the BTs on all 3 of these units. That's going to make a big difference throughout this fight. So Gilgamesh got Royal Sword here, which is handy. Lets us manipulate the turn order here a bit, get some more damage up, get us to the orb phase, the 89% there as quick as possible. And Royal Sword will bring Ramza back up after Gilgamesh's turn, and Gilgamesh is going to use his BT plus finisher as well. We're going to get that Ultimate Illusion up, get that stacking so he can use his burst phase later in the fight. And good solid chunk here from Ultimate Illusion. I don't think this took us below the 89%. Might have been close, yeah, 90% there. So we're getting really close to getting the orb up. I think Ramza gets it for sure here because he's going to use Ice Brand, yeah. So Storming Winter here, we're getting the launch. Huge damage out of these launches throughout the whole fight. Not even using Pandemonium, could have been even bigger, but Ramza brought along here. Sorry, Ramuh brought along here for the Thunder weakness as well as the Paralysis. This should be over 1 million, yeah, 1.2. So big damage there. well under that 89% threshold. We get our first Whirlpool. Let's get a Brave Break Gilgamesh. Unfortunately, he did a bit of HP damage up. And Resist Veil, as well as the Special Countdown. And here comes our first lot of Bubbles. The Bubbles we don't really have to worry about too much. We've got some good AoE damage in the party. So that's going to take care of the Bubbles on their own. We don't need to focus target on them at all. And we're going to go ahead and use Zack's BT plus finisher here. And watch this really sad cutscene here. If you've played Crisis Core, you completely understand where this is coming from, why this is such a sad effect for his BT there. And now we've got all 3 burst auras up. We can go ahead and look at other effects we want to do here. So we can use Krile's LD Call, get that greater weakness up because it is weak to the Thunder, as well as the Thunder Enchant. Get some big damage out of this as well. Speed down on Zack is not great from Leviathan, but we'll make the most of what we can do here. Alright, back over to Gilgamesh. We got Apocalypse here, we're going to delay. Orb is going to get really low here because we did keep delaying the boss, even with the Whirlpool delays happening to our party from the low turn rate. Innovate plus, big debuffs, big damage. Go back to Zack here again, and we're going to go ahead and use the Gabranth Call, try to get as much damage increasing up here as we can. And there's only 1 turn left of that orb, so we're going to go ahead and use Gilgamesh's burst phase here because we didn't want the orb to blow up. And I probably could have used Jack's LD Call earlier, would have made more sense just to make sure we got that one up as well, but ended up not actually needing that throughout this fight. So Hurricane here first in the burst because we don't have the LD swords. And then next up we get our LD sword, we get Ice Brand, so we get more launches here. This one not actually coming from Ramza, but still just as effective, especially with the rest of the party on capped bravery. So big damage here from this one as well. Slightly under 1 million, so not as good as when Ramza did it. Those bravery reductions coming into play there, and no Wild Dance. You'll notice here there's no actual bravery gain on the rest of the party because of the resist fail and everything. So we're going to go ahead and use Apocalypse again, another delay. This is actually making it look like that orb is going to trigger, and I think it did in this encounter, so maybe avoiding it so much wasn't something I necessarily needed to do. LD ability here for the second last turn because we know there's going to be no less LD swords on the next turn, so we don't want to make sure we use the LD. And on the next turn here, we're going to go ahead and use his LD sword, and it was Apocalypse again on this one, so that's all worked out there. Bubbles are going down. We've got Ultimate Illusion up on Leviathan for the last hit. And Leviathan's getting down pretty low. That's a good chunk of health we've taken off there. It was about 80-ish%, I think, going into the burst phase, and we're going to come out just below 60, so good chunk of the HP going there, and end up being just slightly under 10 million there for the burst phase. And there's the Tsunami Divine Plus from the Orb expiring, and really doesn't do anything against the shield there. A little bit of damage to Zack, and we go into another Orb here. Resist Veil's up, and we just continue on with what we're doing. Chain Slash here from Zack to get extra damage onto the Leviathan, and that does double now with the change to level 90. Ramza is going to go ahead here and use his HP triple plus. Get delayed. Leviathan's going to get another turn. The paralysis from Ramuh is going to prevent much from happening there. The orb does disappear again. Recast goes off. I believe because get another second resist. Oh, there was 49% there. Sorry, so it wasn't the recast. It was the special effect resummoning the orb and getting the bubbles and everything back. And then there's a bunch of turns here in a row. The Leviathan and its bubbles are going to take a bunch of turns here, but because of the bravery damage reduction we've got on the party, it's actually just going to keep increasing the orb there on the Leviathan, and we got no danger from it exploding again for the rest of this fight, so we can safely ignore it and do as much delay and everything as we want here for the remainder of this one. Not that this party has a huge amount of delay built in, we have to kind of get lucky for it, and get lucky we did a bit here, but we get Mythgraven Blade here from Gilgamesh. No danger of Zack actually dying there, he's got the permanent last stand from his BT plus effect, but still good to get the healing up because we don't want that damage left at the end of the fight, because that will fail us for the mission objectives. Ramza is going to use his Storming Winter here again to get another launch on Leviathan. Got to take advantage of those big launches as much as we can, get as much damage out as possible here, and we get a 1.1 million. And moving on to Zack's next turn, we're getting down low. Apocalypse is going to get used again here. That's going to make a big hit. With all the buffs up and running, you'll notice this gets close to 1 million on each target. 700k on Leviathan there, so big hits for an EX these days. And Hurricane from Gilgamesh. Once again, we're going to delay some more. We're going to get knocked back on the turns because of the turn rate down from Gilgamesh here. And we have Ramza's turn, and I noticed there's only one turn left for Leviathan, so we decided to go ahead and use Ramza's. Going to use the Ramuh summon here. Ramuh and Ramza keep confusing me doing this. Innovate, big hit, and we're back to Gilgamesh. And he gets a chance to use the sword again. We get Apocalypse, and that's what I'm talking about there with the party delay. But we do need to get lucky and get those Apocalypses on Gilgamesh, otherwise we don't have it. Zack's turn, we're going to go right ahead and use his LD now, so Meteor Shots, get some more big damage hits up. We're just trying to maximize the damage output on the summon, so you'll notice I use a lot of like big attacks here. I probably could have used, I suppose I misjudged on Gilgamesh, but I decided to not and just go with Wild Dance because it's sufficient enough damage from him with the damage output he's got there. I mean, that was 700k just from a skill too, that's a lot. The 29% threshold is hit there, so the bubbles get healed, and we get one more Storming Winter. That's the last LD we've got for Gilgamesh, for Ramza, sorry. And we're going to get a big launch. Huge damage out of this one as well. And look at that one from Gilgamesh. 147,000. And 1.4 million on Leviathan. Big 5% HP gone straight away. And another Apocalypse. Get as much damage out of this as we possibly can. Big damage on the bubbles as well, so we just don't have to worry about them later. And we come out and we're back on Gilgamesh. And the Divine Whirlpool Plus is going to go off there. Divine Tsunami Plus, sorry. Because we did expire the orb under the summon. More Resist Veil. We got maximized Bravery Gain and Damage Reduction up on the boss. And then we get Royal Sword again on Gilgamesh. That's handy for keeping the turn order in the way we would like it to be. So we're going to move Zack up next. Gilgamesh is going to get delayed by this again. And because we brought 2 turns up behind him, he only gets delayed to the end of the turn order. So doesn't actually miss his turn completely there, which is very handy. Brush Assault here from Zack, just keeping all of his buffs up and active. Not as much damage as some of his other abilities, but comes out good with the BT buffs there at 1.1 million. And a big triple plus again from Ramza. This attack is just so strong now. 1.1 million there as well. And we're down to 11% HP left on the boss, so Hurricane from Gilgamesh, we can delay. You can see a bunch of turns there coming up from Leviathan again. But we kind of want to avoid those if we can, so the delay is going to help. Zack's going to get another turn here. And we're going to try and do everything we can to get rid of those bubbles, minimize the number of turns we're taking in a row here. So Apocalypse, that's going to break everybody as well. Or at least it should. Doesn't quite, but we kill both bubbles off, so it's just Leviathan with a turn, and he's paralyzed, so nothing to worry about there. 6% HP left. Ramza up next. Another Shout, and we're going to get the big damage, and Leviathan's going to get another turn here. 4%. Gush, locked targeting in on Zack, 931, and he's overhealed because of everything we've been doing, so there's nothing to worry about there, about the mission requirements. Apocalypse again for another delay, and at this point with 2% HP left, the fight was said and done. So not much more to cover for this one. Really do need to just deal with the orb effects, build in all the counters you need to into the party composition, do everything you need to there. And as long as you bring a good solid party, you should be able to clear this one. It is a 100-turn quest, so even if you do go a lot slower, or just even a little bit slower than me, I got this one done in 21 turns. There should be no problem with making under the turn count as long as you have your HP and everything up there. And no KOs obviously as well, then you shouldn't have any problems at all. Because this one, as you'll see, is significantly over the score in a second here. So yeah, a good 142,000 over the required score. And with that, the quest was all done. So we'll just wait for the artifacts and everything to come up here. Here we go, there's our artifacts. You can see Ramza's got some good ones, they could be slightly better. Gilgamesh has fantastic artifacts there, and Zack's artifacts are actually quite bad, but still managed to clear the quest anyway, through the sheer power of BT pluses and ultimate weapons there. So thanks for watching. If you've got any questions about how to clear this fight and you'd like any further assistance, please ask in the comments down below, and catch you in the next video.